Evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are when you see this video. Thank you for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. It is September 23rd, 2025. It's really late in the evening here, but anyway. I listened to something really interesting this afternoon. The latest information from Candace Owens, that she happened to get some information that I thought was really interesting regarding the Kirk assassination. So I'm going to share that one part with you right now.
I then decided to try to track down the origin of a video that actually no press has been done on. It was the video of I assumed it was a student, and I think, we shouldn't make assumptions, who recorded the shooter on the roof. Remember, that started going viral. If you remember the footage, and there's a guy that's kind of speaking background. We can show you that footage right now. Let's take a look at that footage that we're referring to.
Get right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from where's my finger? Well, from over there, ran in. And now he's right there. Just saying.
Okay. So this footage proved very difficult to track down. And what I mean by that is it was very simple for me to find the account that published the video and made the video viral. And when I reached out to that individual, they were immediately responsive. And I said, hey, where'd you get this footage from? And the individual said to me, a friend of a friend's family member sent it. So I'm like, okay, you're telling me the chain is already twice removed. I said, do you know who took the video? And he said, no, I don't know who took the video. And when I asked the person who sent it to me to tell me who did, because I have all of these journalists, including yourself, reaching out to me, trying to get to the bottom of it, he just stopped answering me. I said, so your friend who sent you this video just stops answering you? And he then sends me a screenshot of a conversation that they're having on an app that I don't recognize, right? So we are prodding that, and he has been responsive, so I'm sure he'll tell me what app this is. And sure enough, the person says, well, there were two people actually who took that footage, which obviously isn't possible, but there are two people that were involved in taking that footage, and he sends him two numbers. And those two numbers were both Chicago-based. And when I looked up whose numbers those were, it looked to me like that was just kind of leading to nowhere. Like, why are these two Chicago-based numbers? It was very weird and very sketchy. So then I have a guy who's on the ground in Utah, and I asked him, a student, to start looking around, fishing around, and seeing if he could figure out who took that photo. Again, operating under the assumption that this must have been a student that was walking by Velozzi Center. And he comes back and he says, I have a number of an individual. This is allegedly the person who took the footage. And I said, do you know that person? Is this a UVU student? He said, no. And I said, well, where did you get this number from? And he says, well, on the day, there was a guy named Aaron who was walking around and was checking on people. And Aaron is the one that gave me this number. I don't know Aaron even, but he's the person that gave it to me. So then I said, can I have Aaron's number? He gives me Aaron's number, and Aaron also has a Chicago number. So I'm getting from somebody on the ground, and I'm getting from this person on Twitter that all of these Chicago numbers are involved, and that's not making sense to me. And I then tried to text that number of the person who allegedly shot the footage. We didn't get a response until today. We finally got a response from that person. I hop on the phone with him. He explains that it wasn't just him. There was one other person who he was walking with who saw this person run across. Neither of them are students of UVU. One of them said he was a student at BYU, which is Brigham Young University. And he's like, well, I didn't take the footage, but my friend took the footage. And his friend does not have a Chicago-based number. So I am confused, and we ask if he'd be willing to send us the footage and to get us on the phone with the person who actually took the footage. I had a conversation with that individual after all of this running around, hence the reason these episodes take so long to put together, because you're calling people, you're waiting for responses, and What he said to me completely betrays the narrative of what the FBI has put out. I am working to quadruple confirm exactly who this individual is, but he was very much, and maybe this is a poor way of saying it, a straight shooter, said, yes, I have a training. And I don't want to give too many identifying details here, but this person himself has a lot of experience with guns and knows guns and, helps to train people in that sort of a capacity, and said that they observed that individual, the FBI saying that the shooter dropped onto the roof at 12:15 didn't make sense to him. He said earliest it was 12:22 that the individual ran across, set up, took the shot. And I said, well, you must have been there, because he then sends me I wanted to see all of the metadata of when he took that footage. And the metadata begins at 12:22 and goes into 12:23, the very minute that Charlie gets shot. And he says, yeah, I saw the shot. I had just stopped recording about 20 seconds before the shot rang out. And he said that he told them a description of what the shooter looked like, and it was not the description that the entire world received less than 24 hours later of this person, Tyler Robinson, wearing jeans. I said, was he wearing jeans? He said, no. Actually, this person was dressed in tactical gear and he was wearing a face mask. And he said, according to him, like I said, he has a lot of experience with guns, that this person looked to him like a foreign agent. I don't know if he's wearing all black, how he got that, but he said he was very certain that this person was skilled, knew exactly what he was doing, and was highly trained.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty chilling. Kind of scary and creepy. But I really wanted you to hear this if you hadn't. I mean, there's so many people watching her show, but I'm going to let her finish here.
Highly trained assassin, so to speak, okay? He then says something else. As soon as George Zinn got arrested and that started circulating, he ran to someone on campus and said, this is the wrong person. I observed this person with my eyes. You have the complete wrong description. The person you're looking for is wearing tactical gear and is obviously young, because I watched him sprint back after taking the shot. I saw this with my own two eyes. And for whatever reason, that never made its way out, that we can see, of a description of a person wearing tactical gear. We're kind of left with this idea that he was wearing the now infamous veterans shirt with the American flag on it and some jeans. So he also said something that we had not heard, which is that he knows guns, and the gun that the FBI found was not the gun that he saw, that the gun that he saw was smaller. And I'm going to read you directly a text message that he sent me, again, protecting his identity. He said, watching the video of the impact, hearing the sharp crack instead of a big hunting rifle's boom, and seeing what looked like a shorter rifle platform, albeit with the absence of the shape of a standard 30-round magazine, the assassin may have used a 10 or 20-round magazine, only expecting to shoot once or twice. I would guess that he was shot with a Hornady V-Max or similar lightweight 223 bullet designed for very rapid expansion. Of course, I don't have access to any autopsy reports like you might, but if they found small shards of copper rather than one large copper-coated lead slug, that's the gun and bullet I would expect was used. So I wanted to share that because I know that a part of this entire thing was our upset at kind of being taken for a ride by the FBI. It makes no sense to me that they wouldn't share those details immediately while this manhunt was taking place. We got every other name and basically every other description, and we're told nothing like what this person who says that he was an eyewitness, he was the eyewitness to this, and that he went right in and said all this information. Why wouldn't you share the eyewitness report that you received that completely counters the narrative? And I would say, again, assuming this guy's story checks out, and it seems to me that it did, and he sent us the data, and we looked at the metadata that he was the person who took that video, it doesn't make sense to me. It literally makes no sense to me that they would obfuscate these details when they're speaking to the public.
Well, obviously the answer to that is that they didn't want people to know the real person involved in this. I mean, doesn't that sound like that to you? I mean, when I heard that, I was like, now this makes more sense. This is what I expected had happened. So I know I already had my own presumed ideas, presumptions. So for me, this kind of just locked it in for me of like, oh, okay, now this makes sense. What doesn't make sense is Tyler Robinson's, being the maybe a patsy, but not like the lone gunman and skilled great killer here. I never bought that. And the fact that, none of his story really works. It doesn't jive, as they say. I mean, his outfits, his no gun when he was running, at least no big rifle that when he was running on the roof. Apparently there was somebody else on another roof or something there, which would make more sense because it sounds to me like it was a professional assassin, hitman, whatever you want to call him. And they said a foreign, I don't know how he got foreign individual from another country doing this, but I'm sure you can guess what my ideas are on this. I do think, I heard Larry Johnson say this as well on Dialogue Works this morning or yesterday. I think he was on, or this morning. And he did say the way all this disinformation is going out is very, very much the telltale sign of intelligence. And this is obvious because nobody believes that it was just some kid doing this. I mean, I don't think anybody's really buying this story. How can you buy it? I mean, all their information is just so sloppy, unbelievable. You can't really believe it. So this thing, tactical gear, black, all black. He was wearing all black tactical gear. He was racing around like he was special ops or, a professional assassin. He had a different type of gun, a smaller one than the one in the that they kept showing us, that the FBI kept showing us, which again, it was this ancient gun that I realized they were saying is like 1906 gun. I find that very strange. I just feel like that was probably a decoy, another decoy is saying that, and why, why they picked that gun, I don't know, but the fact that, how do we even know that this gun was still working? Because I don't even believe that was the gun, but just say, oh yeah, this is the gun, but how do you know if that thing is working? You have to make sure that you're taking care of something like that type of gun. You'd have to do a lot of cleaning and fixing, and for that old of a gun. I mean, I had a gun my dad gave me when I was living on my own in my 20s, my early 20s. It was a .38 revolver, and I didn't use it. I kept it in my closet, and I had it for like over 20 years, almost longer than that. It was like 30 years, about almost 38. It was like 28 years, I think. And I remember I talked to somebody about it, and the guy was like, does that thing even work? Does it still work? And that was only that old. So I found it strange that, okay, he picks up this old ancient gun of his grandpa's to do a perfect professional, like, assassin type shot. The whole thing is BS. I don't believe this story at all. In fact, I don't even think that he looks the same as the guy on the stairs looks the same as the guy that was in the pictures. of supposedly Tyler Robinson, and I don't think Tyler Robinson matches up with the guy on the stairs, and I don't think he really even totally. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff off. The guy that we saw at the court hearing doesn't even look the same as the others. I mean, I don't know. It might just be me, but that's what I got out of that. Fascinating. I thought this was really important to hear because, that's what I imagined seeing, so it was kind of funny. Now, I mean, she's corroborated this enough. I mean, she's gone over it and she says he's more legit, this guy. So what I mean is, she didn't just put this out without double checking and triple checking, but we'll just continue. I just want to see what happens with this. I mean, it's not going to do it. Nothing's going to happen with it as far as as the FBI or any of our law enforcement, because they're not going to put out, if it's intel or anything like that, they're going to protect it as usual. I mean, these are the patterns that we've seen over the past 50 years, 60 years, whatever, of these kind of deals that happen with certain 3-letter agencies. So, anyway, I hope you got something out of that. Tell me what you think on this. I would really love to hear your thoughts. If you think this is realistic, if you believe it, or if you think it's just BS or some other kind of distraction, whatever you think it is, share your thoughts. I'd really like to know what you all think on this. But fascinating stuff. So I hope you're having a great day, evening, afternoon, and I hope that you all have a rest of your day as blessed, and I will be back another time. Have a great evening. Until next time.